back. A dinosaur story. We're back.
Classic.
All right.
That's
Welcome
classic.
back. Welcome back to Phantasm Sex Shop. Baylor, Sean, and Jack. And a new addition to the family. It's Pan Pizza.
Oh my god. It's the Pan Pizza in person.
My little sister.
Hey, does anyone know why I can't go near the school anymore?
God damn it. Yeah, I would love to have Pan on the show someday.
I would love to, even though
Yeah.
I do the voice. I would love to just like do a recurring voice of just Pan because it's like so much fun to do. It just sound as pathetic as possible. So
Mhm.
That's
yeah,
his
we
thing.
haven't done this in a month.
Oh yeah, we haven't done this in a while.
Yeah, I mean it was really hard to top our last episode, so we thought we would just take like a month-long break. So
Well, I know what the problem was in the last episode.
Yeah.
I know what the problem was. The last episode wasn't very good because I didn't say we're detectives. So I'm solving that now. We're still detectives.
Yeah, that was what was missing. It wasn't just a bunch of like me just I don't know what I was on. I think I was just like in the headspace, but I have listened to some other podcasts, so I know what to do now.
Yeah.
I've been listening to Come Town, so I feel like I got a better grasp on how to do a comedy podcast. So if there's ever a moment where things are just lulling, I'll just riff about something being gay. So
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I mean, once I edited the last episode, it wasn't that bad. There's a lot of funny stuff in there, but you're not going to see the full version. I'm never going to upload that.
Please don't, because
the full version wasn't like the best. It wasn't the best. It could have been a little better. And no offense, just
yeah, we did what Quentin Tarantino didn't do and edit it down.
Ooh. All right.
So anyway,
what mysteries do we have today?
Well, does anybody want to start, or should I go ahead and start?
Let's start.
All right. So I guess my mystery is I don't know what sparked it, but for like the past few weeks, I find that I've been watching a lot of South Park.
Yeah.
Nice.
I've been mostly just watching a bunch of like classic episodes that I hadn't seen before, like Return of the Fellowship of the Ring to the Two Towers, and Trapped in the Closet. A lot I haven't seen. And another reason why I'm bringing up South Park now is because Trey Parker and Matt Stone just bought Casa Bonita. So here's my thing. So recently, okay, there's a mix of that, and I've been watching it recently. And recently, it was announced that it's been picked up till season 30, and what is it, like 14 like made for streaming movies? It's a bunch.
Yeah, on Paramount Plus, they're doing a ton of quote unquote movies, but I have no idea what that entails.
I want them all to be theatrically released. We're gonna bring back serials from the 40s.
Yeah. Again, I told Baylor this. They're probably going to be movies in the same way like I start a fan war and I Go to Japan are movies.
Yeah.
More so extended episodes.
Yeah, I imagine.
Right, like the COVID special. Yeah.
Yeah, because the COVID specials were the first like double episodes they've ever done. I guess they just got used to it.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably works better because they probably get a lot more time to work on it because, again, most people don't know this, but it takes a week, not like 9 months like an episode of The Simpsons, which will become culturally irrelevant by the time it's finished.
So, like, but it
takes a week.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that actually, what Sean just said actually leads me to my question that I feel like I want to hear you guys answer. Why is it that even though it's been on for like so long and is apparently now going on for season 30, why is South Park still like considered like a beloved show and it's still like culturally relevant and stays up with the times, while stuff like The Simpsons and Family Guy fall into obscurity and seasonal rot?
Well, that's the thing. I feel like South Park has gone into a little bit of seasonal rot.
But not as much as
Right.
those two shows.
Absolutely
Oh.
not.
Yeah, no. Like, I mean, when I got into The Simpsons, it was like when I was like 10, and I was watching stuff from like 2010,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, like even then I was kind of like, this isn't as funny as what I have on the box sets that I have, but it's like
Yeah.
it was still pretty good. But
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
same time, it was like it wasn't gonna be like classic stuff, and it was a lot of retconning. I think what just helps with South Park, and I mean, I say this as someone who's only watched the first 3.5 seasons, I think, in the
Mm-hmm.
movie. I think it's just because again, it's made at the moment. It's being able to be like, okay, we can just make this within a week because it's a current topic. Sometimes it flops for them, like when they're like, "Oh, Hillary's gonna like win the election,"
Oh
and then
yeah.
the next day they have to kind of spend 12 hours trying to finish the episode before it airs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, and it's had some hiccups. I mean, didn't they do a whole trans storyline recently?
Did it?
Are you talking about the Bored Girls episode? Because that was really bad.
I'm talking about like what I saw was it was like about trans athletes. It was like Macho Man
Yeah.
Randy Savage as a woman.
That whole episode was a huge bust. It sucked. Don't watch it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, who would have thought? Who would have thought that doing that gag would have been hard to do?
If you want to watch, if you want to watch a good a good episode of South Park that touches on those issues, just watch the Sissy.
The Sissy was all right.
Yeah, I'm just saying it does a better job of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's as close they'll ever get.
Yeah,
Because it's not, Mr. Garrison has a fancy new vagina, or the first one they did that.
yeah. And here's, I'm sorry, what were you gonna say, Sean?
No, I was gonna say I think it's also because they are from a generation like a Generation X where there was probably still more with the Generation X like LGBT community. They might be more like accepting of like trans people
Yeah,
while still having some outdated terminology. Whereas a lot of that slacker attitude was probably more rooted in like homophobia and transphobia of that generation. Some
yeah,
of it was progressive, but it was like, there's still that kind of bro-y attitude. But it's also kind of what helps South Park thrive is that sort of absurdist bro-y attitude. So
yeah. Here's another reason why I think South Park is like still, I don't know, it's still like fairly like popular to this day. Is because unlike Seth MacFarlane, who has gone on to say that it was a bad idea to like keep doing like Family Guy,
right.
Trey Park and Matt Stone at least seem like they still enjoy working on the show.
Right.
Easily.
Again, there's that video that I think I've mentioned it before on here of Entertain the Elk, where he talked about the day Family Guy died was the day that the sort of character that's supposed to be Seth got hit by a car. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, like stuff like that. I feel like stuff like Life of Brian, they solely did that just so it could just so people could talk about it. With stuff like South Park, they don't, they don't try to like, they don't try like, they're not desperately trying to do stuff like that. Whenever the last time they've been controversial, it's been entirely earned, and it's been in. Okay, earned's probably not the best way, but it hasn't been as forced.
Like they even said, we don't try to be offensive. We're just naturally kind of offensive people.
Exactly.
Right, exactly. And I think that's what helps it, like, because times do change and they just kind of do know what to like actually say and be able to take both sides. And I
Hmm.
think that definitely helps them out. Like, I feel that doesn't really help with like The Simpsons because it is very much a show by rich liberals who fly on the Lolita Express. So
Yeah.
I feel like being able to not fly on the Lolita Express has greatly helped Trey and Matt be able to thrive throughout the 90s, 2000s, 2010s. So
Yeah,
Though I
that's
will
the.
say that Trey and Matt are richer than all those fuckers. They're now billionaires because of
Oh
the
yeah.
very lucrative like streaming contract they did in the 2000s that just kept on paying off and off.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
they're like, I mean, as much as we all hate billionaires, they at least like you can understand where they got that worth
Yeah, it was.
able to.
Yeah, they're just clever about it. That's all.
Yeah, what they make up for in what they make up, what they don't earn in popularity, they gaining like recognition and like continuing like positive recognition.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and I will say that unlike The Simpsons or Family Guy that have tried to do the same pacing for way too long, South Park has changed the show a number of times.
Oh, 100%.
You watch a season 3 episode, then a season 8 episode, then a season 11 episode, then a season 23 episode. They're all wildly different.
Yeah,
Right.
like the example that Bale and I keep talking about is like it's so funny going from like the movie from like characters like Randy Marsh and Butters or just background characters to them being like super prominent characters in the show from like Tegrity Farms and stuff.
Yeah, when I started to I remember back in 2012, wanted to get into South Park, so I watched like pirated episodes on YouTube, and most of the episodes were like recent ones with Butters. So, yeah, Butters was already like a favorite character of mine, just because I watched him become a pimp and like bi-curious and whatnot. So.
Yeah, I've watched those. Those are 2 episodes I watched before. Both Carmen sucks and Butters bottom bitch. Those are 2 great.
Those are great episodes. Yeah.
I watched that episode again recently, and my jaw dropped when Sergeant Yates took out an evidence bag and farted out a bunch of like a bag full of cum. Like I couldn't believe he could do that.
Yeah, that's another thing about South Park. It's that weird combination where it's like where it has super clever writing, but it's also incredibly juvenile. It's those 2 things shouldn't go together, but yet they do in this show.
Yep.
That's why I was talking about Cum Tum before, is because it's like while listening to it, it's somewhat, I won't say one note, it's at least like 2 or 3 note, but it's very juvenile. It's almost like a guilty pleasure in a way, because I know it's so bad and so offensive and just so almost obscene in the way that they approach topics, but it's so absurdly funny and just juvenile that it becomes like that they're just riffing for 5 minutes on the song 1 week, but just making a bunch of like gay jokes about it. It's like,
Yeah,
why is this funny? Why this should not be funny? I'm 23 years old, so.
I know. And that's why again, and I know I'm probably repeating myself, but again, that's why even though it's still incredibly immature, I still find like South Park funny. Where like Family Guy, I've just kind of like lost interest in it at all, like completely.
I've shown you some good Family Guy episodes.
I meant like I meant like I know like I meant like modern Family Guy.
Yeah, the last good season was like 11, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like again, I think I've mentioned before on this show that the only like full episode I really like experienced was the one where Peter beats Lois in order to make Stewie happy or whatever.
Which I think is an awful episode, by the way.
Yeah, so I started on a weak note. So
yeah,
because I guess it was just like, and I mean I've seen clips from like seasons from before its cancellation. It seems like it had at least an idea of what it wanted to do.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then I think like because there was such a gap and such, maybe because I think Seth MacFarlane like was done with that and wanted to move on to other stuff like American Dad. But like that stuff seems like it actually is at least satirical, like it actually has an idea of what it wants to satirize. Meanwhile, it's mostly just pop culture stuff and like Muhammad giving a soccer ball to Peter Griffin or whatever.
I mean, I somewhat disagree. I feel like the seasons like 4 and 6 and 9 or whatever, like after the cancellation, are better than the pre-cancellation, but I do agree that there is a dip at some point along the line that just never recovered from.
Yeah.
Again, like I've only seen like 1.5 episodes, so I can't really be a judge. But
yeah.
But yeah, like even though stuff like South Park, yes, has taken a dip. It's like especially if like stuff once it started getting to like serialization.
Yeah, season 20 was they tried to like an extended movie for the whole season. That whole thing was just a massive failure. Like they'll even admit it.
but at the same time, it wasn't enough. Like it wasn't enough to like for it to completely become a punchline like Family Guy.
Yeah,
Right. They
like
were
the
trying
last,
something new.
yeah,
Yeah,
like the last full season they did was season 23, and that had the whole episode where that talks about the Chinese government and their influence on Hollywood films, and that was like that was actually big news. People were talking about it after that episode.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like that's kind of what the whole point of what this conversation was. Like it's still funny how even though how like it still continues to be like relevant and popular after all these years, and I always just found that I always kind of respected that show for that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's like it's a show that like even though it's like it's still on, it's like it still finds a way to like actually be funny. From like the clips I've seen like of recent seasons, it still seems to be like a funny show that is able to balance absurdity, probably because it has less rules than a primetime show. So
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just say that in like I've always been a massive South Park head. Like even as a kid, I was obsessed with it, and
Oh yeah.
in high school, I eventually just watched the entire series. I couldn't get enough of it, and even now, even when there's a bad episode, I'm still there for it that night. Like I'm just kind of a ride or die for it at this point.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, like again, I've only seen like the first 3.5 seasons, and then a couple episodes since then. I think like the only episode I've ever like not liked was the one where they were parroting Jar Jar.
I
Oh
haven't seen
yeah,
that one.
I
It's
remember
like
that. The Jack Officer.
Hmm.
yeah, where it was just kind of like oh, that's like one joke, and it's like not even like a great joke. So I was like,
Yeah.
eh.
And it's not even and it's probably not even an original joke at that time because back then everybody was ripping on Jar Jar Binks.
Well, actually, funny story about that. I heard in the South Park movie commentary that when episode one came out, half of the staff like threatened their jobs to just leave and go see the movie. While
Hmm.
Trey and Matt said, "No, we have to finish our own movie. You can't just leave, even if to go see this film." But they did it anyway out of protest. And the next day, they all came back, all super bummed by how bad it was.
Oh. You're talking about Phantom Menace?
Yeah, episode one.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, and so the last thing they put into the movie was the Jamaican soldier saying, "Some people gonna die," as a
Oh,
direct response to Jar Jar.
nice. Oh, for like I know not that many people watch the show, but for those who are watching, please at some point watch South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. Not only is it a very funny movie, but it's also an incredible musical.
Oh, I think
Oh
it's one
yeah,
of the
like
best movie musicals of all time.
Oh, it's one of
yeah,
my favorites.
yeah, same here. Like I love that movie. I love uh Trey Parker, Matt Stone. It's just like I recently finally saw the movie Basketball, which
Oh
they
yeah.
didn't. I mean, they didn't formally write, but they suggested a bunch of stuff, and it is so funny. It is just like it's so 90s, like it's like almost satirizing it, but also like embracing it. I kind of love that. That's why it has like a lot of ska punk soundtrack. So
Funny
Yeah.
enough, when I watched the new Space Jam, I said it just reminded me of basketball because they basically win by doing psych outs.
Yeah.
that's so fucking funny. Just like I loved reading all the comments that were basically only ever talking about the scene where Trey does Cartman and near the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And how like people would like every time they experienced it in the theater, literally everyone like in a classroom or in a movie theater would just laugh at that scene because it's like,
Hmm.
oh my god, it's coming to life or whatever.
yeah. They also did the Garrison voice at one point.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's funny. If you watch stuff like Cannibal the Musical, you can also see a lot of things that eventually lead to South Park.
Yeah, that one guy has Kyle's hat.
Yeah,
All
both Trey Parker's character's horse is named Leanne, which is also the name of Clement's mother, which is also Trey Parker's ex-girlfriend.
I I
Yeah,
I think at least once a month, like whenever I'm in a mood for like a Trey thing, I will look up his parts of the commentary. I've never seen Cannibal. I have it on my watch list, but I love the part of the commentary where they're talking about what Leanne's been up to
Yeah.
yeah,
because they're clearly drunk and they're just like, oh, and now the acapella guy is now the manager of Foley's. hey, I'm worth $7 million, and she was the manager of Foley's. Whoops! And then just literally everyone just cracks up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember another one. I don't know if it's Stan's room or Cartman's room, but somebody's bedroom has a poster of Orgasmo.
Oh.
I know that they use music from Orgasmo, but that's about it. It's just like, yeah, I think South Park's just like it's one of those shows that I think really just deserves its hype.
Yeah.
Oh,
honestly.
it does. It deserves a lot of the recognition it gets. It is a very clever and funny show.
Hmm. Yeah, I love the series. I've even played both of the video games that they wrote.
I've wanted to play the Stick of Truth for a very long time.
You should. That's a great game.
I mean, knowing like what I have on consoles, basically the only thing I could probably buy is the N64 game, which I hear is not very good.
No, it sucks. I've played it before. It's not very good.
I have that game.
Yeah, I played it with you. It's not a very good game.
Funnily
Like,
enough,
I think I
funnily enough,
watched one video about it. So
funnily enough, there was a Game Boy version of that game that was made, but was never actually sold because they didn't think that a children's console would be a success for a South Park game. And so,
Yeah.
like the code of that game was reprogrammed to be Mary Kate and Ashley
yes,
Olsen.
yes, it was.
Oh yeah, I
was
remember you
trying to think,
telling me
like,
that.
Was it like the New Adventures of Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen? I'm like, oh yeah, it was. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh my god.
I remember you telling me that.
Yep.
And I think like that code like looks very similar to a lot of the Game Boy Color games, honestly.
Yeah.
I've seen.
Yeah.
I think like that code's been reused for like an Austin Powers game, maybe. I think.
Yeah. Seems like the kind of thing they would just recycle for different properties.
It's like
Yeah,
those.
definitely.
It's like those runner games you see on the Android store that Vinny from Vinesauce has played a lot, where it just like it's the same exact music, it's the same exact levels, it's just with a new cartoon property, whether it be Minions fused with SpongeBob or a Morty or something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That just reminds me of when Rick and Morty made a game for iPhone, and it was intentionally the worst game ever.
Oh, you're talking about Jerry's game?
It's called Jerry's Game, and all you do is pop balloons that come really slowly. It's
I
hilarious.
remember that.
I haven't played that. That sounds amazing. Jerry's my favorite character from Rick and Morty, just because
Jerry's really funny.
That, because I think it's just the fact that, well, for one thing, like he's so much my favorite. I literally, whenever Chris Parnell shows up in anything, I just call him Jerry. I never call him Chris Parnell. But like, I think it's also the fact that he's just such a relatable character, and the fact that like there's all this absurdity going on, but he's just a regular guy who like is kind of suckish. Like that's all.
Yeah. And speaking of South Park, those good old-fashioned values is now on season 2, and instead of Family Guy or any McFarlane show, they're doing South Park.
Yeah, I still haven't finished the. I need to go back and start from the beginning because I need to listen to the whole season 1 episode. I haven't listened to the whole thing of that yet.
Yeah, there's 2 of them out right now, and they'll be through the rest of the year, I guess.
Yeah,
it's like some podcast or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Any closing thoughts on South Park before we move on to our next subject? Because we pretty much got this. We pretty much came up with a couple good solutions for this mystery.
Yep.
Yeah.
Case closed.
Case closed.
Yeah.
South Park is fucking awesome. So.
Yeah.
Is this the first case that we've done that's actually successful?
Probably.
Yes.
I think we never saw Crispin Glover. So,
no, we didn't even come close to that fucking Crispin Glover case.
Right.
Because I think he objectively did not want us to solve the case. He just put in as much like random shit as possible just to make me crack up. So
make you see what is it.
Yeah, and if we did solve the case, he'd probably send his army of rats at us.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So anyway, let's see what's the next topic.
Or you'll cut your nuts off with his chocolate factory machines.
Oh god.
Again, I've always skipped over that scene because it scared me as a kid. Because it's like literally just like the cock and ball torture and then literally decapitation. Like it's like scary as fuck.
Epic movie. A movie you should not see.
I would recommend it before Disaster Movie though, because like Disaster Movie is like the low rent, like amateur hour version of Epic Movie. It's that,
Oh God.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, who else wants to go next?
I didn't bring anything. Again, my whole thing was basically just gonna call everything gay, but that's
All
about
right,
it. I know you
okay.
wanted to talk about ATM, but
Yeah, we can do ATM next.
Oh.
So Friday the 13th is come and gone, and to celebrate, well, first I got a job at Spirit Halloween. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh
what
yeah.
store was it originally?
Hmm?
It
There's
was
this whole
original. I think it was originally either Ross or Kirkland. It's somewhere right by
Oh yeah, it
Riley.
used to be Kirkland's, and that
Yeah,
That's
closed.
what I thought. That's
there's
what
like
I
this
thought.
whole meme about how like everything gets replaced by Spirit Halloween eventually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because Spencer's LLC is unstoppable.
Yeah, this is fun. There's this funny video online called "Themed Spirit Halloween." If I'll send it the link to you in the group chat, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah,
It goes in. It talks about just how Spirit Halloween like takes over all the stores, and then it goes on to a rant about how Jeff Bezos murdered all these department stores.
I think I
yeah,
know it. I think I know what you're talking about. I think it's like a song or whatever.
Yeah, it is. It's a
Yeah,
song.
that's the one I was referencing before.
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember there was a Trump era Onion article that where like the main photo was of the White House with a giant Spirit Halloween banner in front of it.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So ATM, apparently it's a movie, and it's and even from how you described it to me, it's a movie I do not want to watch. Like it's the film that just sounds so bad, I actually am turned off from it.
Wow. Well, I really enjoyed it because I was just cracking up at how ridiculous and bogus this movie is.
Yeah, I saw this. I watched this movie with Baylor over Friday the 13th, and it really is just one of those horror movies that's, well, one, it's one of the least scary horror films I've ever seen, because the whole time I wasn't scared by it. I was just yelling at the main characters about how stupid they are.
Yeah, these are
And
the dumbest motherfuckers I've ever seen in a horror movie, and that's saying a lot.
Okay, so
they're all usually good actors. I mean, I haven't seen Josh Peck in anything since I was a child, but like
yeah, me
Brian
too.
Baratheon is good. Alice Eve is. I've seen her in that Black Mirror episode where she was pretty good in it.
Yeah,
Uh,
she's all right in Star Trek Into Darkness.
Yeah, I'm just like it's so weird that it's like these like actually like kind of big actors. It's not like younger actors either.
Uh-huh.
Like they're
Uh-huh.
actually like pretty relatively like in their mid-20s. But like apparently it's supposed to be a critique of like the recession, but then there's like no like motive and there's actually no commentary on it. And it was
Hmm.
like this sounds like just a movie that like made things up like after the fact where it's like, oh no, it's a deep metaphor for this thing. Please go see
Yeah,
our movie.
Yeah.
because it's from the writer of Buried, and I haven't seen it, but apparently it's a similar bottle movie where it's like a metaphor for the Iraq War.
Uh-huh.
I've heard
Right.
Buried is basically the good version of ATM.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently a lot of people like that, but it just reminded me of like I wrote a film that was kind of a metaphor for like Hollywood and just like a lot of stuff going on at the time. I wrote a film called Demands, which was about uh this guy, this like pedophile who goes on to one of these like To Catch a Predator type shows, but he
Yeah.
brings a gun with him and he takes the entire crew hostage. But instead of asking for like any money, he only asked for what he came there for, which was a 13-year-old girl and not a
Yeah.
decoy.
Ugh.
Yeah, I submit the script. I actually went to the semifinals of some horror contest or whatever.
Mhm.
But like it was kind of a metaphor. Like there's more heavy-handed sort of stuff, but it's like told from the point of view of a psychopath. So it's kind of almost like just under the radar with that. But it is like about like Hollywood and just how much it like regurgitates people and just uses them and like doesn't really care about like working class and whatnot and will just like be corrupt. And then also commentary on like the LAPD because they're outside and they end up just like uh they're just like very incompetent or portrayed as such.
Yeah.
And so like but even with that, so I know about this sort of like elevated horror sort of idea of just like we have to add a meaning or like nice graphics to it so that it can be like elevated or whatever.
Hmm.
And this ATM sounds like just proto that, but also not that at all because it doesn't seem to follow on anything. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So basically, the for those who haven't seen it, I'm not gonna. I don't know. I don't really know if I should spoil it because I feel like
Spoil it.
okay.
I spoiled it myself by going to the what 1 second. I'll be right back, guys.
All right.
1 second, Dad. 1 second, Dad.
So I'll still talk about ATM. So basically, the plot of ATM is that it's about these three guys who are called coming home from like what is it, like an office Christmas party?
Yeah, well, first, the inciting incident is the main guy wants to come home with a woman he fancies and he offers her a ride home,
Right.
but Josh Peck ruins the moment by demanding a ride home himself since he quote unquote promised.
And
But
he's also drunk, and
yeah, he's
apparently he doesn't.
super
And apparently
drunk.
he apparently doesn't have enough money for a cab. But we'll get to that.
Yeah, God, he's just really drunk and acts really obnoxious at this party. And funnily enough, at the party, he at one point says, "Yeah, I said that for emphasis," which of course is an accidental reference to Drake and Josh.
Yeah.
So the main guy ends up in Josh Peck ends up in the main guy's car, and then immediately he starts complaining like, "Riddle me this, when are we gonna get food?" Like,
Yeah.
fuck off. Like, I'm dyslexic, I have low blood sugar, I really think this third wheel nonsense would end if you feed me, to which they're like, "Shut up." But then he's like, "All right, now I need to stop at the ATM." And then just to shut him up, I guess they go to this fucking ATM, but they park really far away for some stupid reason. And to which so when they're the
Well,
main guy,
they park far away so it can add to the suspense later.
yeah, but there's still no reason why they did that.
Again, we'll get to that once we finish setting up the inciting incident.
I
Okay.
agree with everything you guys just said, by the way.
All right, so then the main guy and the girl are hanging out in the car, like chatting it up, but then they see through the window Josh Peck going like come in, and it turns out just because he's too cheap to use his own card. So basically he's made these friends go to this ATM so they can give him money.
Mhm.
Because he's a bad fucking stupid friend.
Yeah. Okay, so while they're in the ATM, suddenly they look outside and there's just this guy wearing a parka with a crowbar just staring at them. Why, I don't know. So basically,
or car door, or whatever.
exactly. But so yeah, he's standing out there looking all menacing with this crowbar, looking almost like the hash slinging slasher.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's so many like after a while it gets to the point where they can use the card, but for the most part of the beginning of this, there's at some points where he just goes off to like the back of the ATM and just does some what is he?
Tries to break in, I guess, but like there's many points in this movie where the killer just leaves to go set up shit. And
Yeah,
they just run for it, but they don't.
Yeah, exactly. The entire time there was like so many moments in this movie where all the characters need to do is just run out of there, turn on their car, and just go away. But they don't. They make up some bullshit excuse every time why they don't just run to the cars. Okay, eventually at some point it gets to the point to where yeah, he like unhooks the wires to the car and stuff. But even still, there's no reason why they all couldn't just run and take this guy down. It's three against one. You can you can pin down a guy if he's just armed with a crowbar.
Yeah, and
but this
eventually
is skinny Josh Peck, so
yeah. And eventually they do kill a guy, but it ends up not being him. It just ends up being some rando who very conveniently is built and dressed identically to the killer, and
Yeah.
also very conveniently never screams or try to talk his way out of it. Like, what
Well,
the fuck?
Exactly.
because I read on IMDb, apparently the guy was someone that the hash sling slasher already killed. So, like, he just took a corpse and put it on a chair and so they threw a
That's another
Molotov
scene.
cocktail.
That's another
Oh,
scene.
okay. Oh, this is a different guy.
Yeah.
Oh, it's stupider than I thought. Man.
No, but it's like, but yeah, that's still the same thing. There's so many characters when these fucking stupid characters can just get out of this situation because this isn't like, again, this isn't like, I mean, I've never seen Devil, that M. Night Shyamalan movie in the elevator, but at least in that movie, there's no way they can just really get out of the elevator. They're just kind of
Yeah.
stuck. In this movie, no. They could have just ran out of there and just take this guy down.
Yeah.
And,
This
and
movie.
even still, even after like the car like gets broken or something, I forgot to mention before. Of course, they all conveniently leave their cell phones in the car.
Yeah, this is a situation. This is a situation where, don't get me wrong, fuck the police, but this is a situation where you can solve everything by calling the police, and they never do because they conveniently left their phones.
But even still, when they got there's one scene where the main guy starts running to the car, and the hash sling. His name's not really the hash slinging slasher, but that's what I'm calling him because that's what he fucking reminds me of.
Right.
But anyway, he's running to his car, and the hash slinging slasher like runs after him and starts grabbing him. He gets in this, and then he runs back to the 18 with the other guys, but he never grabs his phone in the car. It's like all he could have done was just grab his phone in the car, run inside, call 911, boom, end of movie, problem solved. But he doesn't because this movie needs to keep going and build the suspense because this movie is so freaking terrifying.
Yeah, this movie makes you miss really bad bottle movies like Devil that sucked when it came out, but now it looks pretty good.
Yeah, I was about to say this kind of sounds like a moronic version of Green Room, kind of.
Yeah.
And Green Room's a great fucking movie, so it's like this sounds like if you replaced the Nazis with the SpongeBob character and then just made all the characters incredibly stupid.
That's what I say, because this killer guy's not scary. He's not scary in the slightest. They try to make him like this, like super, like mysterious, scary, like badass killer, but he's not.
Yeah. And okay, so eventually the killer kills Josh Peck, who first he hilariously trips on a wire.
I read that. Yeah.
Yeah, in a scene that literally looks straight out of like Home Alone.
Yeah. Yeah, so then the
Like,
killer.
yeah, seriously, all it was missing was like the woo sound effect.
Yeah.
It missed Josh Peck turning into a skeleton for like a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then the killer stabs him. And then later on, the killer brings out a hose and brings that to the vent and tries to flood the place. And
we didn't even bring it up the fact, like, conveniently, they see, apparently, later on in the movie, apparently Josh Peck is shown to have survived that stab wound, even though he clearly should have died because it shows him dying, yet how he survived, I don't know, especially between that and the cold weather.
So, yeah, so they bother to come out and bring him back, to which he just bleeds out anyway. So it was like, what was the point of all of that?
And again, why doesn't like the guy just take Josh Peck back and the girl go back to the cars and get their cell phones?
Right.
Because then there wouldn't be a movie, and you need to prolong this bullshit.
But even still, this is near the very end of the movie.
Yeah. So then when the killer's flooding the place, like they eventually discover that the guy they killed had cigarettes and a lighter, to which they like take like the lighter and like burn some paper in the trash can and raise it up to the smoke alarm. But
and then I read that Alice Eve dies in the most hilariously pathetic way possible. So.
Yeah, like they can only reach by playing chicken. to where
Yeah.
Alice's sleeve is on the bottom, and they eventually slip, and she cracks her head open.
hmm And then afterwards, at some point, the okay, so this part drives me insane at the end because while they're flooding, the the killer literally gets a lawn chair and just sits and watches them until they die. But then while they're I forget when it was, but it's like at some point I don't know if it was the security guard's car for earlier or a police car, but it just drives into the door and like locks them in. But at the same time, like it cuts back to the killer and he's still sitting in that chair. So who the fuck was driving that car?
Well, then you see the body in the chair wasn't the dead security guard.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Never mind, I forgot that.
All right. So in the end of the movie, when the smoke alarm is triggered and the cops come, the killer gets away with it, and the main guy gets arrested instead because the only crimes committed were captured on the security camera. There was never a point where there was any trace of evidence of the actual killer.
Also, this movie geniusly like in the opening credits, they mix it in between like the main guy in his office and like the police looking over like bodies and stuff. This movie's so genius that it basically spoils the movie in the opening credits.
Foreshadowing.
Exactly, because a lot of the shots they show with the police it's the same shots they show in the opening credits. And then this movie for some reason decides to sequel bait.
Yeah,
Because,
it goes on and on. Like they did not need to show us this much of it, but it ends
Because
up like
the main villain is such a cool and memorable character that you're gonna want to see him kill even more stupid people.
oh,
So,
you can tell they're totally banking on this guy to try to be the next Michael Myers.
but like, yeah, there's so many post-credit scenes. There's like 4 of them, where it's just more of the same shit. Just the guy's blueprints of like similar ATMs and mini marts and how he's going to commit more ridiculous schemes with the cameras.
And it just cuts in like random moments in the middle of the credits. It's like why are you doing this? Like in the middle of like random points in the credits. Just okay, you have one part near the beginning of the credits and just have one part at the end. You don't need to splice it up in the middle of the credits like randomly, like you're trying to jump scare the audience with stupid blueprints.
now to be fair, I think that what the director was going for was he wanted to make a homage to one of his favorite movies, The Master of Disguise, in which there's about 5 different like post-credit scenes. So
Nice.
and then there's a post-credit scene on a post-credit scene.
Though to be fair, I think this movie, even without those scenes, is still a longer movie than Master of Disguise.
That's one of the great things about Master of Disguise. It's only like I think only 70 minutes without the credits. Like,
oh yeah,
yeah, at least ATM was 80.
yeah.
They resolved the whole movie. Like, even without that George Bush scene, it's only like 68 minutes. Like, it's perfect. It's perfect family viewing. This movie sounds so fucking stupid.
So
It's
here's
ridiculous.
yeah. So here's the mystery So here's the mystery I'm trying to solve with this movie. Why did the writer and director think this would be scary?
Or at least why they think it would be successful. Because
Exactly.
there's so much shit that shouldn't have gone past stage 1.
Yeah.
What do you think was the number of jump scares per minute?
I don't remember any real jump scares in this movie.
Really?
To be fair.
Really, it didn't have them?
There's only one jump scare that I can think of, and that's when the security guard gets killed by the guy. That's the only one I can consider that to be a jump scare. And
these types of movies are filled with like fucking awful jump scares.
Yeah.
Like, what was that movie, Smiley?
I was thinking Smiley because I was thinking of Bayless's review where it's literally the girl like going around the corner and that's the jump scare.
Yeah, that's such stupid shit. God.
Yeah, if this doesn't have jump scares, then what's the fucking point? Are they trying to get by on the story and the action? Because if you make it so ridiculously inept, and then no one's gonna watch it. And then we give the biggest fuck you ending where the
This is,
final guy gets arrested and blamed with everything, which is a
yeah.
trope I absolutely hate because I hate like that sort of injustice sort of thing. Like
Hmm.
I
one
mean,
of the biggest examples where it kind of works is Hot Fuzz. Like because I was
right.
kind of cringing throughout it because of how stupid everyone was, but eventually I was like, well, they do get their comeuppance at least.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
The
I
whole
like.
the whole
I like.
injustice horror arc, horror trope can be done well. Like
Mhm.
Night of the Living Dead has a brilliant ending.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
because it's actually like socially relevant and like it has a meaning. So
Yeah.
that was like an injustice ending was also supposed to be the original ending to Get Out, where Chris gets arrested.
yeah,
Yeah.
which honestly would have sucked because
Yeah, but
yeah,
but then he changed that because I think test audiences didn't really like that ending, so he changed it to where his TSA friend saves him.
yeah, it would have been
Yeah.
like the ending would have been kind of bold, like the original ending, but I think it also still would have like sucked and kind of like I mean, it would have been effective maybe, but it would still have sucked. It's kind of like Alien 3's opening in a way.
Well, like it would have detracted from the point that it was trying to make, because like everybody knows that redneck cops are racist. Like you don't have to convince anyone about that. But like
Uh
the
huh.
whole, the whole thesis of Get Out is that white liberals are just as bad.
Uh huh.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to the whole ATM, like back to ATM, it's I don't know why, but like the whole thing of ATM just reminds me of that quote that Chuck Jones said about the first Space Jam. This movie takes like is over an hour to solve a to like solve a problem that could have been solved in 5 minutes.
Yep.
My God. Yeah. How could you wait? How could you solve the problem of Space Jam in 5 minutes if it's aliens? Like,
Because
But
because
right?
the aliens
because
are so small and stupid that Bugs could have outsmarted them without ever challenging them to a basketball game.
yeah.
Yeah, but the filmmakers were on so much cocaine that they couldn't really like see the original Bugs Bunny would have outsmarted all of them. And besides, it was Billy West as Bugs Bunny, so it's non-canon.
Ah.
I don't does I don't really like do Looney Tunes really have to I don't know. I feel like it's kind of dumb to call something like the Looney Tunes like canon because it's not I feel like
Right.
it's it's like oh, I'm so focused in like the Looney Tunes Merry Melodies lore. Like this doesn't seem right. This isn't canon. It's
Well,
like
like
what are you? What are you? It's like what are you a Star Wars fan?
every Looney Tunes short takes place in a vacuum. That's why so
Exactly.
many of them have horrible troll endings because it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's what I
exactly.
mean.
And Laura's kind of stupid. I was just thinking, like, this reminded me of that Red Letter Media video where they're talking about the top 10 facts about Darth Vader. And
Uh
it's
huh.
all from those, like, books that they have to write about Star Wars and all the different lore and just how they have to grasp for any sort of stuff that's not already in the films. And
Yeah.
so it's like they're going off these fan wikis. So it's like the Palpatine Surgical Reconstruction Center, and it's like all this stupid bullshit. So
Yeah.
uh, it's like this is what happens when you get 100 people to write about one story.
Mm-hmm. All right. Is that all we have to say about ATM?
More like
Well,
ATM.
well, that's I pretty much got all my thoughts about ATM. It's just a stupid movie with a stupid concept with stupid characters. It's just an overall stupid movie.
More
Yeah.
like AIDS TM.
Yo. I
See, I
just
had to get those in because I set it up at the beginning. So
yeah. This Christmas, I'm going to throw an ATM Christmas party.
Oh,
my God.
100%.
Oh yeah, because it's apparently a Christmas movie, like it's Eyes Wide Shut or something.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Returns.
Though
It's like
though that this isn't but then again like Batman Returns is more of a Christmas movie than ATM is.
ATM is very incidental. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I don't
mean,
even
like
know I
yeah.
don't even know was it released during December and that's why it's Christmas like when was it
I don't.
released?
I think it was released in like September, probably when all the
Yeah.
shitty horror movies are released.
Yeah. Like
Hmm.
like Batman and like Die Hard weren't releasing, or like Iron Man 3 weren't released during December either.
True.
Wait, Iron Man?
Iron Man 3 is a Christmas movie because all of Shane Black's movies are Christmas movies.
Pretty much.
Wait, is The Predator a Christmas movie?
It might be. I have no idea.
Has he ever had that one pedophile friend of his to play Santa? Or
Ooh.
Oh God.
remember that story and just how fucked up that was, where it's just like, hey, you know this guy's been in multiple Shane Black movies. He's like his good friend. Yeah, he got like arrested like all these years ago, and now he's playing characters who are actual pedophiles in the Nice
Yep.
Guys or whatever. It's like, what the fuck, Shane Black? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that was overshadowed by everyone hating on Bohemian Rhapsody. So
Nobody gave a shit about the Predator. It was too late.
No.
when the Predator was already in a bunch of Shane Black's movies, so
Oh,
I see what you did there. You sneaky bastard.
God.
yeah, I still haven't seen even the original Predator.
I haven't
Me
either.
neither. It's on free on Prime. I might watch it because currently I have the house to myself. My parents just left for vacation, so I'm gonna have so much fun. You know, I'm gonna be like just barely in anything. I'm just gonna be in a robe eating pizza, just watching whatever fucking art porn I can. So it's gonna be fucking great. So
Yeah.
When I'm done with this, I'm going to start watching the rebuild of Evangelion movies because those
I
are
haven't seen any of those Evangelion shit. I only know that
I haven't either.
comes on someone. That's all I know about it.
Yeah, that's the beginning of end of Eva, which is one of the greatest movies ever made.
I still love that. I still love that video where it's just as like it's all coming like kids want Neon Genesis Evangelion, and it's the scene from The Simpsons where they're doing like a focus group with kids, and it's just like, so you want a realistic, down to earth show that's completely off the wall and swarming with magic robots? It's like, yep, that's pretty much Neon Genesis.
Yeah,
Genesis. I said Genesis.
yeah,
Super Nintendo Sega Genesis.
yeah. That I just remember that Robin Williams clip in
Yeah, I was about to say,
photo.
like,
Oh yeah.
it's even better because apparently, like, he is actually a fan of the show, but he clearly went Evangelion just to make as many errors as possible about the show.
Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's another film I need to see. Yeah, I'm gonna watch a bunch of shit. Like the last film I saw, I think was like Valley Girl, which was not as good as I remember it being.
Last movie I watched before ATM was The Pianist, and that was a really good movie.
They're on similar vibes.
Yeah. I watched The Suicide Squad twice. That's an amazing movie.
Yeah,
I've heard, but it flopped. And why could it have flopped? Do you want to talk briefly about that article that just came out where it's like, how could the Suicide Squad movie flop, and what does it mean now?
Well, one, it was released during Delta. Two, it's free on HBO Max. 3, it was always financially kind of a bad idea because nobody fucking liked the first one.
Yeah.
So, of course, it didn't do very well.
It is funny though because Baylor and I saw the Suicide Squad like they had like a special like advanced screening where we saw like a week beforehand.
Nice.
And I don't know if I've already said this before, but if I have, I'm sorry for repeating myself. But I hate the first Suicide Squad. The first Suicide Squad, in my opinion, is just I know this is kind of like a dumb thing to say because like this is one of the worst movies ever made. Yeah, but no, I generally think Suicide Squad is one of my least favorite movies.
Yeah, it just only recently went below a 6.0 on IMDb. So because the Snyder fanboys just like holding on to hope that this is like the verse that they want and release the air cut or whatever.
Oh fuck!
Apparently there's a good movie buried in there, even though we have footage that shows that there's a lot of bullshit that made it to the final cut.
But no,
even if it's better, there's no way the air cut's gonna be good.
Oh,
we've seen Air's previous cuts. There's Bright. There's the Bone Collector, whatever that fucking Shia LaBeouf movie was.
Yeah, just who cares? This is not a Justice League situation.
No, But going back to what I was talking about earlier, when I saw the Suicide Squad with Baylor, well, first off, I liked the movie. I thought it was a really fun, like, comic book movie. But one of my first thoughts was, wow, literally almost everything that the first movie got wrong, they do it much better in this one.
Mm. Does it at
Yeah.
least does it have a better soundtrack? Because here's one of the things about like the first movie, which I saw in the theater. I remember
Yes.
like I gave it a 7, but I also said it sucked because I think it was just more of a fun theater experience than it was like, a movie. But like the thing about the soundtrack for that film is that there's some really great songs, like some great licensed songs, but like as someone who is very into movie soundtracks and like always picks the soundtracks before I even write a script, it, there was like so poorly edited in there and so
Oh,
poorly
yeah.
placed that it's
Yeah,
like you have a song that's as badass as Black Skinhead and you're playing it over a scene of Will Smith like firing a gun.
Being
That should
black.
be amazing.
Yeah.
And that should be amazing, but they managed to make it lame. And I will
Yeah.
never forgive them for that.
Yeah.
original-
Like there's only 3 needle drops in the movie, really, and they're all amazing. Like the opening credits, I won't spoil it, but it's set to "People Who Died" by Jim Carroll, and it's
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah, but yeah, the original Suicide Squad soundtrack is trying to do one of two things. One, it's trying too hard to be Guardians of the Galaxy, 100%.
Exactly.
And two, with stuff like 21 Pilots and stuff, it's trying so hard to be cool and edgy, because I always thought Suicide Squad is only made for like those like goth wannabes who like only shop at Hot Topic.
To be honest, I want those
to
types of movies to have like the original soundtracks. I want original soundtracks to come back, where it's like the Batman Forever sort of thing, where it's like we're gonna give the superhero movie this licensed soundtrack. We're gonna put as many random fucking like people on there. Like, did you know the original like Batman Forever had Sunny Day Real Estate on the soundtrack? It's like one of the biggest emo bands ever, like underground emo bands, and they have it on the fucking Batman Forever soundtrack.
Yeah, it's like that song mixed in with like Seal's "Kiss from a Rose."
Yeah, 90s is great, man.
And for the Hot Topic audience, I'm just going to say that thankfully they have a better movie, Cruella.
Yeah, which also looks like it's only made for Hot Topic audiences.
And me.
Right.
And me.
Yeah, but they don't have an original soundtrack. They just have like Supertramp in it, which I mean is probably great, but
yeah,
the music in that movie is awesome.
Yeah, like I saw the listing of it and I was like, yeah, this actually
I did too.
Pretty good. But like these original movie soundtracks, like there's rarely films that like do that sort of 90s. We're just gonna make them licensed, just get all these artists from a record label. Like Promising Young Woman did that. It was pretty good. Birds of Prey, of course, did that.
Yeah, they did. The 3 examples I can think of are Birds of Prey, Black Panther, and Into the Spider-Verse. Those were all original songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But don't forget the Space Jam 2 soundtrack.
Oh yeah, that did it too. That did it too.
But unlike those soundtracks, nobody gives 2 shits about the Space Jam 2 soundtrack.
No.
Oh man, like that's the thing. Like Space Jam is objectively an awful movie, but like that's one of the things where like it's that and The Mist are the 2 films I love to shit talk on Twitter because there's so many people that love those movies, but I just can't fucking stand them. And Space Jam is one of those movies that like is the primary example of awful shit movie but amazing soundtrack. Like Hit 'Em High is amazing. The Fly Like an Eagle, I Believe I Can Fly, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
You gonna say something, Jack?
No, I was just going back. I was just reeling this back into what we were talking about earlier with the Suicide Squad. But I was talking about like again, going back to what I was saying earlier, how everything the first one did wrong is done in this one. Literally, like the first thing, this movie again isn't trying to be some big epic thing. It knows exactly what it is, and it runs all the way with it. It knows exactly what kind of movie it is. 2,
like.
What?
Well, I was about to say, well, like the first one, the mission didn't make any sense. Like, there's no reason why
Right.
you would have these guys do this. While with this one, yeah, it actually is a Black Ops military mission, and it while it does have eventually a superhero climax, it builds its way up to that.
You know what? That is a good
Exactly.
point because it's like I never even thought of how little it makes sense to have the Suicide Squad go after that because, like, here's the thing: you have this a magical being, and I won't even get into how much I fucking hate the Enchantress character, like just
Oh,
Everybody
I'm
in
with
does.
you.
terms
I
of
hate the
writing,
Enchantress.
because you want to talk about how like the clothing for Harley Quinn was sexist. You talk about Enchantress, but here's the thing. It doesn't make any sense because most of the people there aren't like superpowered people. Like
No.
you have the
No.
guy who can fly, got the guy who can climb anything. You have like you have the Killer Croc or whatever. Like
Yeah,
you
that's
have a
it's Killer
few
Croc.
magical beings, but like what are mortals supposed to do against a fucking witch?
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially since the Flash and Wonder Woman are right there.
exactly. I
But they're
I
sad because apparently Superman's gone or something. I don't know. I didn't watch the
So
movies.
they can still do their jobs.
no, he's
No, they're
not. He'll be
sad. They're
back.
crying or whatever. Boo-hoo.
No, that's the thing. It's like I've always thought again, I hate to be sound like that guy, but I've always thought the Enchantress is probably my least favorite like comic book and movie villain because she's such a I don't know, she's just such a like a lot
Yeah,
of things in this movie. She's just a like a nothing. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, she sucks.
she's just so generic.
Yeah, and there's like really no personality. Her only personality is that she likes her boyfriend and that her boyfriend is the only one who can tame her. And it's like,
Yeah,
fuck you. Like,
Yeah,
Kara deserves so much more than this.
and I would like to say that Cara Delevingne, her actress, like her actor, I should say, she comes from like an absurdly long line of British aristocrats. Like
hmm
you thought nepotism was bad before. No, this is some new shit.
No, but
yeah.
I literally just watched a clip I think yesterday where it was Bill Hader on Who Do You Think You Are, and apparently
hmm
his 40th grandfather is Edward King of England. So there's your fucking
Hmm.
Ooh.
nepotism.
So yeah,
So yeah, but Cara Delevingne, like she at least she's like funny. Like I've seen her in so many different interviews. It's an infectious personality, but she
Yeah.
gets some
yeah,
shit roles. Like,
yeah,
or at least the movies that she gets just like
Oh, definitely.
and even like in the movies where it's like she's kind of breakout, like where you could see hopes or glimmers, but the writing, like Paper Towns. I mean, like granted, that's probably my least favorite of John Green's books, but like the adaptation was pretty bad, and like her character just seemed like the sort of character I would make fun of in terms of indie cool girls or whatever.
Yeah, literally two of the only movies I've seen her in, boy. Suicide Squad and Valerian in the City of a Thousand Planets, which are both awful.
I haven't
Valerian
seen
is
Valerian.
awesome.
Valerian looks awesome and gay, and I kind of want to see that. But
You
It's
should
it's
see it.
it's it's awful.
It's a terrible movie, but you should
I
see
mean,
it.
it's Luc Besson, so I know Luc Besson is known for camp,
Yeah.
dubious quality, and just absolute awesomeness. So
Yeah,
Yeah, and just his entire movie is just being about level of just what the fuck.
yeah,
yeah, and luckily he went on out on a good note before he hopefully goes to prison. So
yep,
God, fuck France.
hmm
yeah.
We're just gonna start a war with France. This just the three of us, basically.
Hey, I speak French.
Oh, I know you do. Um, no, I don't know what that joke was, but whatever.
No, I
Um,
do. I went. I took. I did French classes for 4 years in college.
oh,
Hmm.
really? I took
Yeah,
one Japanese class and I can't even remember any of the words. But
the Japanese, those sandal wearing goldfish tenders.
Oh God.
what
That's
the
from The
fuck?
Simpsons.
I know what it's from.
I didn't remember that quote.
It's from Last Exit to Springfield.
Right.
Okay. Oh, I think yeah, I think I remember that one. I love that episode. I haven't seen in a while, but
Hmm.
All right, so
I
the
was thinking about
suicide.
if that was from 30 Minutes Over Tokyo, or whatever that was.
All right,
One where they all get seizures.
Yeah, what else do we have to say about the Suicide Squad?
I mean,
Well,
I will probably watch it eventually when I watch all the DC films, but
yeah, yeah, you should catch up.
I didn't feel like we stayed. I didn't feel like we said that much about the Suicide Squad because we mostly just went on tangents. But I
yeah,
will say this: if you didn't like the first Suicide Squad, you should still see this because this is barely a sequel to that movie. It's its own little thing, and it's much better.
Yeah,
yeah, it seems like that.
I think this is one of the best comic book movies ever made. I think it's so fun, so creative in its presentation because it doesn't do the Deadpool thing where it like breaks the fourth wall and brings down the story and meta humor, but no, like
No,
they do like weird postmodern elements in the presentation, just trust you to not take everything literally.
Right, and it doesn't seem to take itself as seriously as the original Suicide Squad.
right?
I would
Yeah.
love to know if John Cena was like Jared Leto and just started fucking around with the cast or whatever. Just like a
Oh
random
god,
nice guy like cast member just turned into Jared Leto.
god.
Oh my
And
god.
and also, I thought this movie was just really clever in its messaging
Yeah.
because I hate to be that guy who can like, ooh, I can do a video essay about the politics in this superhero movie. But no, this movie actually has a lot to say about it. This movie has a lot
Thank
to
you.
say about disastrous foreign policy.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Ah, fuck.
I didn't watch that video because I haven't watched her in like 4 fucking years. I
Yeah,
think the last time I watched it, I was being a dick and recommending the Rent video to a music theater kid. So,
yeah.
Wait,
but
that's actually a good video.
I mean, yeah, it's a good video, but like it's basically just like if you're a fan of Rent, you're gonna hate it because it's like missing points or whatever, as I've heard.
I mean, it's rant. I don't know how much there actually is in there.
Right, right. I mean, it means stuff to some people, and to others, they just fucking hate it. So
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think like if Lindsay was a little bit more like in touch with queer culture, she might be able to get it. So
So yeah, Suicide Squad, best movie I've seen all year, and I don't expect anything to top it.
well, have you seen Summer of Soul?
No.
You should, because that, like, again, I haven't seen that. I haven't been watching many recent films like the past 2 years, but that film, like, I saw that was the first one I saw in the theater since Uncut Gems, and I couldn't have picked a better film to watch because it's basically just this very obscure concert from the 60s, and it basically got buried in time just because it's predominantly like black empowerment and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just such a fascinating fucking documentary. So it's on Hulu if you don't want to see it in the theater. But
Yeah. My
Yeah.
my favorite. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Baylor.
I just don't think it's even playing in theaters anymore. That's my thing.
Hmm.
right,
Yeah, my favorite movie I've seen all year so far is In the Heights. That was
Racist.
the no.
I'm just kidding.
I'm not gonna talk about that controversy because
wait,
again,
what controversy? I haven't heard about
no,
this.
no. Look it up on your own time. I'm not getting
I
into
will
it.
say there's allegations of colorism in that movie. There's not enough like quote unquote Afro Latinx people in it.
Oh, that one. Oh, fuck that.
But anyway, Into the Heights was the first part of the reason why it's my favorite movie so far because In the Heights 1 was the first movie I saw in the theater since COVID started for months. And also it's like after all the shit that was going on for the past few months, just the vibrant, just feel good energy of In the Heights was just something that just felt really good. Especially not just seen in a theater again, but just seen in a movie after just months of just pure just bleh.
I kind of like the evolution of John M. Chu from a hack fraud, gun for hire, like doing all this teeny bopper shit to making like movies that are supposed to be important.
Oh
Like
yeah.
he goes from Never Say Never and Believe with Justin Bieber to the most important Asian movie ever made, or whatever.
Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah, it's funny to go from like Gem and the Holograms to In the Heights.
Yeah, that's basically what my reference point for John M. Chu is Gem and the Holograms and all the shitty movies before that. And
Yeah.
then also is a video with the Coney 2012 people.
Ooh.
Did
But
you hear?
apparently,
Someday we'll get him. Someday we'll get Coney.
God.
apparently I've heard that John M. Chu, I guess he trusts so much In the Heights, he's gonna direct the movie version of Wicked, which is coming out next year.
Yeah, good luck.
Oh, he's basically becoming like a Rob Marshall or a Tom Hooper, where he just like takes these properties that we already know, but it's just
Yeah.
like it's just kind of there. It's like not really any style, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Hey, In the Heights is a better movie than both Les Mis and Cats, in my opinion.
It
I haven't
is.
seen any of them,
never
so
say that. Bill Condon's another one.
Bill Condon
Yeah.
released his like vision, and he actually directs movies that are not just like Guns for Hire, like he did Mr. Holmes or whatever. But he has done some like just whatever work like
Like
Twilight or whatever.
and Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, that
Candyman.
one, yeah.
He did Candyman 2.
I forgot about that one.
Like,
But yeah, he's
I didn't even know that.
movies. Like Dreamgirls is great. I know he's did that movie that like is apparently Ian McKellen's best movie, like that movie about the guy who directed Frankenstein or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Oh, of Gods and Monsters.
Yeah, he did that. He did Mr. Holmes. He's done did another Helen Mirren film or whatever. But yeah,
I do want to see Dreamgirls at some point.
Dreamgirls is, I mean, I loved that as a kid. It's still pretty good. I mean, it's kind of adapted for the movie, but like, just the performances in it are just fantastic. So,
Uh-huh.
and I'm really excited on that note to see Respect because I fucking love Jennifer Hudson.
Yeah.
Like, whenever I see a shitty Oscar ceremony, at least she's going to be singing an original song there. So,
yeah. Right, so next topic. Let's talk about the whole celebrity shower scandal.
What is that?
I don't have room to speak
All right.
because I haven't taken my shower yet. So,
All right, so here's what's been happening. Initially, it was Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher. They said, we don't really bathe our kids. We'll just let them do it when they want to. Which, for one, gross. And then, to make matters worse, Jake Gyllenhaal and Terry Crews spoke up about it, like saying, you don't have to take a shower every day. You can just do it when you're dirty. Like, ugh. To which...
why?
I know why. I know why they're doing this. It's propaganda. So when, in a few years, when there's severe drought, they'll just get us peasants to stop taking showers.
But it's like so like completely blowing up in their face that it's not working. Like, I don't think that's gonna really work for them.
No.
It's like, but at the same time, it's like a nice little subplot to my daughter told me not to say faggot anymore, which is also my favorite character arc of celebrities.
Yeah.
My daughter didn't like the way I was saying faggot too much, so she wrote a 9-page dissertation on the history of the word. And me being from Boston, even though that word's in my bloodstream, like I now am no longer going to say it. I don't know why I'm saying it when I'm promoting this movie that people should see, but I will let you know I don't say that word anymore.
Yep. So, what do y'all think?
Fucking Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really know that much about this, and I don't know. I feel like this is something that I don't know. I just don't really have that much to say about it. I don't really know that much about it, so I feel like I'm not in the right place to talk that much about it.
But from what I've said, what do you think?
It's just, I don't know. It's just one. Well, the first thing with Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher, one, that's creepy. Then the whole thing with Terry Crews is just weird.
But Terry Crews is already weird. He's like been kind of a punching bag for Twitter for a while. Like he was like kind of coming out in favor of the cops, like during the whole riots. Like he's kind of been falling out of favor.
Like he said, when we say Black Lives Matter, that shouldn't mean Black Lives Matter more. He actually said that.
God. I mean, like, all respect to him because he's done some great things, but like
Yeah.
he's also still like a born again Christian, like sort of rich liberal. So it's like,
Yeah. Turns out he's as much of a cheapskate as Julius is.
God. Oh, Julius, Josh Peck's character. Okay.
No,
Yeah.
Julius.
I was
No,
confused for a second.
no,
I was like,
Julius, his character on Everybody Hates Chris.
Right.
Josh Peck,
oh, okay. I was about to say.
yeah, the fucking Josh Peck in ATM is Corey. I can't believe I
Okay.
know that.
That sounds like the name of his character. That does,
Yeah.
honestly.
That does sound like the name of like a douchebag cheap character.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I've seen Terry Crews is one of those actors where you just see him as Terry Crews, so I forgot that his name was Julius, being like, that's about $2.35 for that piece of chicken or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
God, that show is fucking great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't understand why these celebrities are being like, I mean, you're saying this propaganda campaign, which I mean is like, it's already feeling like it might be that, but it's also feeling like every bread tuber is a Fed, like that sort of conspiracy. Where it's
Yeah.
just like, it's probably not true, but it sounds plausible enough. Uh, but it's like, I don't know. Quarantine has made these people being like, we could just say whatever we want and make ourselves endearing and relatable or whatever, because we know
Hmm.
that there's going to be a class war eventually, and we need to seem more relatable to the working class by not showering and becoming woke to homophobic slurs or whatever they think is going to be in.
Right.
All right. All right, my last topic. Let's talk about Billy Bob Thornton.
What did he do?
Well, first we can just talk about him generally, like how we feel about him as a performer.
I mean,
Well,
I've previously said, I don't know where I've said this, but Carl Childers is literally my favorite movie performance of all time.
Oh,
mhm.
Like, literally, it is, because it's such a transformative role where it's like you can't see him in that role. You just see
Right.
like a random person, like somebody who would just be a background extra, or like a character in Bernie by Richard Linklater. Like, it's just like completely transcendent. So that's my favorite. I'm worried that he's done something and he's warranted being a topic, but I mean, that wouldn't surprise me.
all right. So I really like the guy. After all, he's probably my relative in some way. And
Well, you are from Texas, so
and I have family in Arkansas where he's from, so
ah,
okay, so Fargo first season, he was incredible in. The Man Who Wasn't There, he was incredible in. Bad Santa, I think it's one of the best comedy movies ever made.
yeah, exactly. I was about to say, and even in the sequel, which kind of sucked, like he was still kind of the best part of that. So
Yeah. Yeah, so I really like the guy, even though in 2016 he said this. Well, first, in 2011 or so, he said he was doing a musical performance, and somebody said he liked the band, and
oh, I know this.
to which he
Yeah, he was
said,
like,
"You like my band? What was I, just fucking masturbating up there? I wrote every fucking word to those songs. Would you say that to Tom Petty?" Well, people always say, I like Tom Petty's songwriting abilities, not just I like Tom Petty. Also, I hate it when you say, oh, you have a band now. That's really fucking patronizing.
Well, that just sounds really pretentious.
Yeah.
I'm gonna quote that once Buckingham Green blows up. I'm just gonna be in interviews where it's like, you like my fucking band?
Yeah.
Listen, I wrote half these songs. Like, this guy
Right.
only does a bunch of bang on instruments just because I have no instrument ability. But I wrote all the fucking songs. I created the band. Listen here, motherfucker.
Yeah, that's that's really bad. That's really annoying. But also, a few years ago, he said this about My Little Pony friendship is magic.
Why would he even touch on My Little Pony? Why would he even Billy Bob Thornton seems like the last person I would think about, but would talk about that show.
But this is what he said. This was amazing because the main 6 ponies, who are the stars of the show, they go out there because Celestia, who runs Equestria, she will tell Twilight Sparkle she needs to go somewhere, but she doesn't tell her why. So anyway, suddenly they get captured by them and told they had to remove their cutie marks and get equal signs. But they said, you know what? No. So Fluttershy, who is my favorite because she talks like Marilyn Monroe, she
Yes.
Oh my
says, oh yes, Fluttershy acts like she wants to become a member, So they give her the cutie mark equal sign stamp and everything. And then she notices something, like it rains, and it washes off Starlight Grimmer's equal sign, and she's got her own cutie mark. So she's like a Jim Jones cult, right?
First of all,
I
I'm
can't
so
I
glad
can't
his favorite is also Fluttershy because she was my favorite when I watched the show. So
so one, apparently he's a brony.
Yes.
Two, I can't tell if he's I can't tell if he is he like just saying this as a joke or does he genuinely believe this?
I'm
I think he
sure he
genuinely,
actually watches the show.
and I think he
Yeah.
genuinely believes this because he is absolutely that sort of person. Like he seems like a light version of Nick Cage with that sort of like pseudo intellectual bullshit.
My
Yeah.
favorite is Twilight Sparkle because she sounds like Marilyn Monroe.
No, Fluttershy does sound like Marilyn Monroe a little bit. I didn't even notice that till now.
God damn it.
I just hope that like Billy Bob Thornton goes on like slash MLP boards where he's just like, why are all you people here like trying to come inside Rainbow Dash? Like it seems like you need better things to do.
I know this sounds completely off topic, but am I the only one that thinks that Billy Bob Thornton sounds like a King of the Hill character?
He absolutely
Kinda
does
does.
because he's from Arkansas. So
Exactly. So anyway, going back to what that is, it's just I guess that just proves once and for all that My Little Pony Friendship is Magic really did have such a wide fan base.
Yep.
yeah. I mean, like I haven't seen the show in a while, but I still stand by my pick of Equestria Girls being my favorite Western animated film. So
I've
Can you
never
go
I've
into
never
why?
what?
Can you go into why that is?
Well, for one thing, it's significant because I watched it literally the day before I got massive spinal surgery. So I was like, if I die, I want to at least watch this shitty film, and then I loved it so much. So, and then I rewatched it when it like the season 4 premiere came out, and I was like, yeah, this is still really solid. So it just has a lot of personal significance. It's just a very enjoyable experience because I also watched it like the bootleg of it where it was like some person in the audience filming it, so I got the audience reactions to feed off of. So
I've never seen a single episode of Friendship is Magic, but in freshman year of college, I did write a paper over bronies.
hmm. And
What
like
was your
Friendship is
thesis?
Magic is just one of those shows that's like even in its worst episodes, you have to admire just like that it's like not filmation sort of stilted bullshit. Like
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, what Baylor was asking on my paper, my stance on it was like I wasn't. But one, I didn't rip on them at all. But the whole like tone of my paper was like, you know what? It was like pretty like supportive. It's just like, you know what, to each their own. That was pretty much the tone of my paper.
Yeah. I've met people who are bronies before, and I think it's fine.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean like I was a brony for like a good period of like a year. And like even though I was like critical of the show, like when it had shitty episodes, like it's still like it's a show I hold like pretty dear because it's like it was a show that like it was better than most kids entertainment. And I also watched a lot of it when I was recovering from spinal surgery because it was like I was bedridden and just watching the hub a lot. So
Yeah.
Hmm.
R.I.P. the hub.
like yeah, and then it like God, I hate when it's like I get into channels and then they immediately like rest in peace. Like when I was into Nick Gas in 2007
Yeah.
Oh
and it
yeah.
canceled itself immediately afterwards.
Right.
Yeah, that was a bummer.
And then
Anyway,
apparently
so
it was running on a loop or something.
hmm.
Nick Gas was apparently running on a loop for like 5 more years for some like DirecTV people
Hmm.
or
Huh.
something.
That's interesting. Anyway, so the thing I was about to say was, okay, so you're a brony, but that doesn't mean you're going to be traumatized by putting your hoof down the way Mr. Enter was.
Oh God.
That's a reference only me and Jack get.
Yeah, because I only watched Mr. Enter for like a brief period of time, so I
Well,
don't.
we did too.
Yeah,
We don't
I
really.
just
sucks.
I just know that he has apparently very bad political opinions and is anti-vax or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he wrote arguably the worst cartoon in history.
Oh my god. Yeah, that sounds about right. But
Yeah,
I think there's a guilty pleasure in reviewers trying to create their own content. Like
Mm-hmm.
not even never mind the Lightbringer, but it's like when like a demo reel, like Brad Jones again, I'll say what I will about him, but like he at least made movies that were really fucking good and like had some like effort behind them even with limited resources.
Yeah.
Like when you take into account a bunch of reviewers who critique for a living but don't actually know what to do, then you get stuff like Zod's Snap Neck or whatever that bullshit was.
yeah, yeah. Like fucking, if literally anyone else tried to pitch Growing Around, Mr. Enter would rip it apart. But
Oh
because he
yeah.
did it himself, he's very defensive of the premise, despite how little it makes fucking sense.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. And then you also get like it's a very hard thing when you're a YouTube or like a content creator when you have to try and transform yourself to a medium that's not that. Like luckily I was never successful, so I never had to deal with that ego. But when you have stuff like Shane Dawson's Not Cool or like the Smosh movie, though Ghostmates was pretty decent.
Yeah.
But like the thing about it is like when you have that sort of creativity, you're gonna be hard to transform into an actual like medium with a budget. So
Right.
and then your ego, where you just like I can critique this for a living, even though I realize my own shortcomings, which is how the
Mhm.
Lightbringer became Linkara. So
Right.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I think Get Cynical Part 2, like Season 2, is gonna touch on like the Fred movie and like the Smosh movie and all that shit. So that's
Oh
gonna be
yeah.
good.
I rewatched the Trying to Watch with I Hate Everything,
Oh
and
yeah.
it seems like the first Fred movie at least has some sort of like because again there was this sort of Reddit post a while back where they were like, why is there a scene in this Fred movie where there's bacon taped to the wall?
Yeah. Like
Where it's like
I watched the Fred movie, the first one, a little bit ago, and I kind of liked it. It was kind of good.
yeah, they're making references to fucking Gummo. Like
Yeah.
like it seems like they at least had like some vision, and then they were just like, we're just gonna rely on like some kind of. And then I think by the third Fred movie, they just didn't know what they were gonna do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the ambition has washed away by the second one or whatever.
Well, the second one at least has some weird gags. Like that one has like a Dragon Ball Z reference
Of
where
course it
it's like,
does.
yeah, where I don't even watch Dragon Ball Z, but I knew about the guy getting like his entire like body sucked out and just leaving the skin, and they reference that in the Night of the Living Fred. So.
God damn it. Right, so is that it for this episode?
I can't think of anything else to talk about.
More like Night of the Living Gay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is it for that episode.
All right. See you guys on next time. Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Was that it?